Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast. And guys, the good news is that the vibes are once again good. Cubs win 3-0. The Jameson Taillon revenge game. Shout out to CHGO Cubs Podcast for manifesting the Jameson Taillon revenge game. If you watched pregame, you would know, because we all, and I do this with air quotes, we all took Jameson Taillon for who you got. So shout out to us. Big of us. Credit to us.
I also wanted on record.
Thank us later. Thank us now.
That was my idea.
Yeah, that was his idea.
And it was Corey's idea.
I also did say straight up that we were going to get a Taillon revenge game today. When you asked, I said, I think we're getting a Taillon revenge game.
Yeah.
Credit to me.
So we're not trying to boost ourselves up too much, but one might say that we manifested the Jameson Taillon revenge game. So, in real, though, he's our DraftKings King of the Week, King of the Night.
King of the Night for sure.
What's the graphic look like? There it is. King of the game.
There it is.
Jameson Taillon, King of the game. 8 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. His ERA is almost below 6 now. But
baby steps.
But yeah, baby steps. Best start of his Cubs career. I mean, you got the start. You absolutely needed something like this from him tonight.
100%.
None of us expected it, but we got it. And the Cubs take game one of the series. And it's a huge momentum boost going into tomorrow.
This was the game that we were waiting for from Jameson Taillon, right? When you looked at his game log, we talked about it a lot. A lot of the starts were not horrific, in that like 1 inning, 9-run category. They just weren't good enough, right? They were too short. They took the offense out of the game too early. And we were waiting for that one start where he went out and won the game for this team. They scratched 3 runs across, which on a lot of nights isn't enough. We've seen that with this team, right? They need more of it. Right, going forward. It's just one start, but it is the right direction, and they needed this desperately from Jameson Taillon. A game where he puts his stamp on the game, and he goes and wins one for this team. They had a horrible record, 2-12, when he took the mound for this team. We need more, like I said, but for tonight, he went out, and he won this game for the Chicago Cubs. That is what they needed, and he delivered in New York tonight.
Yeah. No, and I like the fact that I like that you mentioned like the 3 runs obviously tonight were enough, but especially in Jameson Taillon starts, right? Like we've seen that 3 runs aren't going to be enough. That's just how it's been, and because he gives up 4 runs, 5 runs, whatever it is, and I think even through all the roughness, like we've seen not full starts, but we've definitely seen like solid stretches in those starts where he looks like the pitcher Cubs, thought they were getting when they signed him. And then he has that 1 inning where a couple balls fall in play. He misses a spot and then gives up a home run. Like that felt like a lot of Jameson Taillon starts for the entire season. So I think honestly for most of this start, we were kind of keeping an eye out, like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like just because we'd seen it so many times.
100%.
But like you said, like this is the kind of start that the Cubs needed to see from Jameson Taillon. I know this is the kind of start Jameson Taillon was hoping to have. I mean, he hopes to have it every time out, but like going back to New York, the last start of the first half, like all that played into like he needed to have a start like this. And it takes me back to like with Stroman last year, the first half of his somewhat big contract, right? He had some good starts in there, but he also had some bad ones, and then he had the injuries and COVID and that stuff, and so his first half was just very rocky in a similar sense. And like, I mean, you can attest, like all 3 of us can attest, like people were already done with Marcus Stroman.
Definitely.
But by the end of the first half last year, he comes back. I think he made 1 start coming back from that last injured list stint. It was like 4 innings shutout, which is okay. But then that sends him into the All-Star break. I think he might have made 1 more with New York, actually, or against the Mets to end the year. So he had 2 once he came back from injury to end that first half. And then, he does that. Then he comes out in the second half and looks like the Marcus Stroman that the Cubs thought they were getting. I'm not saying that's going to be what Jameson Taillon does, but like
that's why you try to be patient.
That's why you be patient, especially for a guy that signed a big contract 4 years, like, and also a guy that has at least some track record of being a good starting pitcher. Like he's not this guy that they just gave a ton of money to who was never good. Like, he's been good in the past. He's been good under the bright lights of Yankee Stadium. Like, the first half was rough, and I can't say you shouldn't have been angry or frustrated over just Jameson Taillon constantly going out there and just not pitching great. But like you said, patience. Like, he has a lot. He's going to be here for a while. Like, it's not time to take him out of the rotation, like some people are already suggesting. He had a great start here. You want to see that continue on in the second half when they're done, after the All-Star break. But like, this could be that launching off point that we have been kind of waiting to see from Jameson Taillon. So I'm interested to see where he goes from here.
Before Cody does his victory chug, I know we have some super chats that we will read. We appreciate those. I do just want to say, like, a credit to David Ross too in this game. Like, when we were watching that live, I wasn't really confident that he should come out for that 8th inning, just because it was a very close game. And in my mind, it was like, hey, you got 7 shutout innings. Like, why push it? But the benefit of pushing it is obviously he did get through it. And now you have, that those extra 3 outs, it's all the more confidence boost for Taillon to feel like, hey, I went out there and I got a W for my team. So credit, again, I didn't agree with it in the moment, but I credit to David Ross for letting Taillon go back out there and continuing to build on a really great start.
Yeah, I mean, my big takeaway from this game in general from Taillon is just the fact that, again, we said in pregame the Cubs need to at least take 2 out of 3 in the series, and they were 2-12, now 3-12 in his starts, and there was no reason for a Cubs fan to be optimistic tonight. And this guy not only went out there and gave you a quality start, but 8 innings, only gave up 1 run, 4 strikeouts. There were times there was never a time where you felt like it was gonna blow up in his face. And there's been a lot of games where I feel like, he's had 2 clean innings. Hopefully this is the time that he keeps that going, or this is the time he's finally settling in. And then it falls apart so quickly. I felt like that happened his last start, actually. Remember his last start, he had retired 7 or 8 straight and then gave up a 3 or 4 spot in an inning that ended up being the reason they lost the game. Tonight, the Cubs their offense didn't even really do anything incredible to spot him a lead, and he still went out there and just did his job. Bellinger hitting the homer, Nico getting the 2 out, RBI single, definitely gave him a little bit of run, but still, it's not like the Cubs were up 10-0 or something. Like, these were high leverage innings, especially as the game goes along. The more that they saw him, the fact that he went out there and just got it done is very impressive. And I will say, if you want to have any kind of naysay about it, yes, there was a lot of right-handed batters in the box. All right, Yankees don't have a lot of good lefties. Maybe this was a really great matchup for Jameson Taillon. But at the end of the day, though, for me, it's like this has to be a massive confidence boost for him going into after the All-Star break. Yeah. Like, he desperately needed something like this. And when I say desperately something like this, it's like 6 innings and 3 earned. You know what I mean? He gave us 8 innings of shutout baseball. Yeah, 8 innings
better. And, to that point, you play who's on the schedule, right? The Yankees aren't in the best spot. That lineup is, obviously it's missing Aaron Judge. It doesn't have the thump that it has had in the past or even earlier this year, but that's who was on the schedule. And leading up to this point, Taillon wasn't winning those games, or the team wasn't winning those games. This is just one start, right? Now we go to the All-Star break, but it was a really good start and one that this team needed. With where the Cubs are, right, in this division, this season and everything, it really is one day at a time, right? And today, Jameson Taillon was really good, Adbert Alzolay was really good, and the offense did enough to win a game in a place that they have never done that before. So for today, everything's good.
Yeah. Before we start that, from Jesse Rogers, ESPN, per ESPN stats and info, Jameson Taillon is the first opposing pitcher with at least 8 innings pitched and 1 or fewer hits allowed at Yankee Stadium since the Orioles' Daniel Cabrera in 2006. Only the 6th opposing pitcher to do this over the last 50 seasons. So, yes, Yankee Stadium is a hard place for opposing pitchers to pitch. Jameson Taillon did something no pitcher has done in 17 years.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. All right, let's get to the beer bat. Also, we got 130-some people in the chat right now. Hit the like button. We got 41 likes. I would also like to say every time I wear the I'm ready to be hurt again shirt, I'm pretty sure the Cubs have won the game. But
you're in fact not hurt again.
Yeah, I know. It's like the opposite happens. But I always wear the shirt when I'm like, oh, we're getting creamed today.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and that I mean we all felt like we're getting cream today. So like this is awesome. So again, hit the like button, and I guess this beer bat chug is for Jameson Taillon. The revenge game was awesome. So shout out to him.
That's it. Once it touches the lips.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good thing I got it.
Yeah, the timer's screwing up.
Ryan's doing it manually. If you're listening on the podcast, our YouTube timer wasn't working.
We got 11:39 from
11:39.
11:39 from Delmendo.
I don't know what happened to the stopwatch. It's like glitching.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's hard for Cody. They haven't been winning as much, so
true.
he's
Not a lot
in
of
and out of
practice.
there. There's some weeks
Yeah.
he's drinking every night. There's
Yeah.
some weeks he goes 6 days
When
without
I hit the
It's like
8.5, when I hit the 8.5, I'm pretty sure they had won. That was in the stretch of when they won 11 to 13. So I had a lot of practice.
He's not in that. He's not in the rhythm, right? Like when guys keep going on and off the IL, they
Exactly.
They can't stay. Like Nick Madrigal, right?
Nicholas in our YouTube chat here says he was at the game tonight.
Oh, nice.
Vibes were immaculate. Got a little emotional seeing Rizzo at bat with Ross looking on. Talkman had good dugout energy. All emotion. I mean, I'm emotional watching Rizzo in another uniform, but that's a good one to be at, Nicholas. Thanks
Same,
for
yeah, that was a good one.
bringing home the W with the Jameson Taillon
Finally, the
experience.
Cubs winning a baseball game at Yankee Stadium.
We got a couple super chats. Honestly,
Let's go. Baseball Junkie, second day in a row, he's given us a super chat. Shout out to you, man. $5. Immaculate vibes tonight. First, is that the one that Corey read? I'm sorry.
Corey, have you read?
No, I didn't read it.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, it sounded like almost the same as the other one. First Cubs W in the Bronx in team history. So blessed to end my evening with the legendary CHGO crew. Hashtag Taillon revenge game. Hell yeah, man.
You know what? Like we're blessed to end the game with you guys. Even more blessed, 2 hour and 15-minute game on a Friday night.
Absolutely. This was the Stuckey special. He wasn't even here for
Yeah,
it.
this is the Stuckey special. And then we got the other one.
We got Burge7F91, $5 super chat. Charlie Root, Gabby Hartnett, and Billy Herman can finally breathe easier in their graves after not winning a game in the 1932 and 1938 World
Amen.
Series.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking the same thing, man.
I love that, though.
That's awesome.
And, looking, Dr. Brendan Miller will have to diagnose some things on Sunday as far as what Taillon was doing. But looking at his Baseball Savant page, now, sometimes they classify these things and then they get reclassified. But going off of it, it looks, a lot of four-seam fastballs. He was still throwing that sweeper. It looks like 21 times tonight, mixing in the cutter and the regular curveball. So, they're trying to find that balance. But saw some discussion in the chat that the key for Taillon tonight seemed to be just locating well with that fastball. I mean, again, it's a work in progress. One start doesn't erase the rest of the season, but as you said, Ryan, like this is a guy with a successful track record, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to get him to feeling like a Cy Young candidate, but you just need to get him back to where he was with New York and helping this team win games, and he did that tonight. Yeah,
and I mean, I'm looking at the sweeper too. He threw it 21 times, only got the one whiff on it, but eight called strikes today against the Yankees for Taillon with the sweeper.
Location.
Yeah, as we know, like that's a new pitch. Like that is the one he was developing this offseason. That was one of the things where I was like, every pitcher seems to be developing a sweeper, but like Taillon specifically was one. And yeah, it looks like just at least today, like the control of that pitch was very good. I know he only struck out 4 guys. Strikeouts just not a huge part of his game, but to be able to just land these specific pitches for strikes, command them well, that's going to do wonders for him. I think, as I kind of said a few minutes ago, that you think about some of his starts from the year, and when he gives up those home runs or when he gives up those innings, it's like he loses that command for a little bit, and then that does him in, right? Because he doesn't have the the velocity to overpower guys and kind of make up for it. Like he really has to kind of rely on his command, and there will be those times where he starts to lose it, even for a little bit. But even that one pitch results in a big home run that kind of changes things for him. So today for him to have the kind of control that he did, good sign for him. Good sign for him moving forward.
I thought the defense was good behind him as well. I thought Morel had some really nice plays at second base.
Yeah.
Rick DeHouse, he's the big Morel guy in this chat a lot of the time, talking about how they should play him anywhere. I have some thoughts on that, but I have always said that, at least this season, that his his defense at second base has been better than any other spot that they've played him, at least this year. So with Swanson being out, he stepped in nicely at second base and made some plays. The double play balls that they had, he made really good, strong throws to Mancini at first. And, even Mancini didn't have any mess-ups at first base tonight.
Sure.
In a low-scoring game like this, you need this defense to be good. This is what this team is built on, pitching and defense, and they got both of those tonight. And credit to all of them for that, at least on defense. And so, because it's Taillon was obviously great, 8 innings shutout. But it's not like he struck out 10 though. He struck out 4. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of contact, but the Cubs were aligned well defensively, and he got some more ground balls tonight, I feel like, than he had in all season. I could be completely wrong about that, but it felt like it. He got big ground balls when he absolutely needed it. I believe it was either that 7th or the 8th inning. I want to say it was the 7th. He walked McKinney, and I think he was able to get out of that. And then it was not McKinney. It was
what inning are we talking about?
It was either the 7th or 8th inning. I want to say that
it's probably the 7th.
It was Torres who got the hit, and then Bader came up and hit into the double play.
Oh, no, it was Stanton. Stanton walked.
Oh, Stanton
and then Bader
walked.
came up with the double
Stanton
play.
Walked, and then he got the double play ball. And I feel like there's been a lot of times where, in a lot of those starts before this one, where it was either a 2-out walk or just a walk in general, or just a hit, whatever, and he's just been unable to get that ground ball to get out of an inning or anything like that. So to me, that's huge. So again, give him all the credit. It was a sign of everything the Cubs have been saying in terms of, Tommy Hotovy was on 670 The Score this week talking about how they're working with Taillon on his pitch grips and all this stuff. When you hear that on the radio in the moment, you're like, yeah, okay, let's see some results already, right? We got some results tonight. Yeah. So credit to Hotovy and whoever else that was working with him, and then obviously Taillon for helping him get to this point, because it's huge, man. If he can start giving outings anywhere close to anything like this, to go with Stroman and Steele and Smiley, that's a game changer for this starting rotation moving forward. Yeah,
and I like what you said about just the results, right? It's a results-based business. It's a what have you done for me lately league. That's all that matters is the result. And I guess credit to Taillon, in every start when he comes out and we talk to him and he had a bad start or, that inning that just kind of changes the game for him. And every time he'd come off, he'd come into the press room, he'd talk to us, and he would straight up say, he's like, I'm doing the right things. I feel like I'm doing things in between games. It's just, that one inning I miss a pitch or I miss a spot, whatever. And then, he goes on to say, but it doesn't matter. People want to see the results. I want to see the results. We want to see the results, and I'm not getting it. He's like, I pretty much says we're not getting the results, and I need to be better. Which I'm like, he doesn't have to say that, right? He could say I feel like I'm doing the right things in between starts. Cut it off there. To be, I guess, accountable in a way, just being clear that you understand results are the number one thing. Mm-hmm. The wins, leading teams to wins, are the number one thing. That's kind of a credit to Taillon for just understanding that and being upfront that you understand that. And the results were there today. It was an awesome start from Taillon against the Yankees, right? We talked about this is going to be a tough series. Even these next 2 games are going to be tough just because it's the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. That's always going to be tough, especially in Cubs history. We know that. So to see Taillon go out, get that done, and start them off this last series on the right foot, it was really impressive to watch that.
Gary mentioned also Hendricks. I forgot to say Hendricks, which bad of me to forget Kyle Hendricks of all of the pitchers. So, if you get these kinds anywhere close to these kinds of starts moving forward from Jameson Taillon, that's really big going into the second half of the season. And again, we keep going back and forth on what are the Cubs going to do at the deadline. If they would have lost tonight, we would have been talking about, they're going to sell these guys. And now tonight we're like, back to 5 under, and, we got to get back to 500, and maybe we're buying, So it's a lot still has to happen.
One day at a time.
But, it's one day at a time, like you said. So,
yeah.
And we did get
another super chat
from James. What happened to Luke? It's been a while.
$2.
He is on vacation.
He's on vacation. He will be back. He will be back.
Yes.
He is on vacation.
I like
you can play. I keep telling people as a bit that they can place their bets at DraftKings on where Luke went on vacation.
Well, I mean, I like the bit. I like the bit better that the home stopped letting him out, and so he can't come here anymore. So
not this late, at least.
Yeah. They don't call him Grandpa Stuckey for nothing.
Yeah.
We try to pick him up. We can't sign him out anymore. So that's where he is.
Ishmash says Luke is at Sunnyside wearing Shady Rays.
He might be. Neeran says he went out for pizza and
never came back.
He might have got lost on the way back. You never know.
You know how Luke is with food. He's the biggest foodie in this office.
Too many Do-Right Valrhona chocolate donuts.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in a food coma for 3 weeks.
You're the one who's bringing those in the majority of the time, too.
Maybe I'm gunning for his job. I don't know. You know?
So I feel like we can talk about the offense a little bit here in the second segment. We just talked about Luke hanging out at Sunnyside with the Shady Rays, Corey. Maybe he was. Did you see him there when you go this
I don't
week?
know if Luke is hanging out at Sunnyside, but I hang out at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensaries, and I would love to tell you about them.
Tell me about it.
Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. It is a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, no matter where you are in your cannabis journey. Easy online ordering and in-store pickup, great transparent loyalty program, the Sunnyside Rewards, and it is Illinois' favorite dispensary from the city to suburbs, Wrigleyville to River North, Champaign to South Beloit. I tell you guys every time, but I live near their Wrigleyville location. I shop at their Wrigleyville location, and indeed, it is a very easy experience. You can log on your phone, shop the products, and pick it up in store within minutes. And as we said, if you're new to your cannabis journey, their staff is very friendly. They can answer any questions you have, any effects or strains, whatever questions you might have, or how to best get started. They can talk you through that. They can answer all those questions. They can really help you get the experience that you want with cannabis. And you can shop the Sunnyside House of Brands like Mindy's, the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs, or the Cresco family of products, reliably excellent cannabis, consistent quality, experience, and availability of flower, vapes, concentrates, and pre-rolls. Through August 1st, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order, one use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code, including me. I use our code CHGO25 to save 25%. And you can pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. And guys, it is Friday. It is the summer, which means it is a Sunnyside Summer Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we might have gotten our answer on Friday in New
feel
York.
good?
Who made us feel good? Sunnyside Summer Fridays are all about bringing the good vibes to get your weekend started. And I think there's no other answer than Jameson Taillon. He is your Sunnyside Summer Friday good vibes player of the week.
Cody Bellinger goes well with this as well.
Cody Bellinger looks like he visits Sunnyside a lot.
Yeah.
And he did hit a towering home run tonight. So Jameson Taillon, Cody Bellinger, they're providing the good vibes here on a Friday, Sunnyside Summer Fridays. Don't forget to use that code CHGO25 for 25% off your order at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensaries.
Great stuff from Sunnyside. We also have great stuff at Lewis University. Students are just like you. They have full-time jobs, families, they're full-time sports fandoms, all that. But go back to school to earn a respected degree at Lewis University. It's only 35 miles southwest of Chicago in Romeoville. Lewis is ranked as one of the U.S. News & World Report's top-tier colleges. Lewis partners with numerous employers for tuition discounts and offers evening, online, and blended formats to help you balance work, family, and education. Faculty bring real-world experience and instruction to the classroom, which is immediately relevant to your career, and they offer career support and academic resources for adult students. Looking to complete your bachelor's or master's degree or enroll in a professional certificate program? Lewis has the right program for you. Lewis offers several career-focused programs that will set you up for success. We're just going to highlight one right here, the Lewis program in computer science. It's only 8. You get 8-week sessions. You can be completed in 1 year. Concentrations for computer science include software engineering, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, digital forensics, enterprise, and cloud computing. Discover how a degree from Lewis can help you build a better world. Learn more at lewisu.edu/you can do this.
You can do this.
That's lewisu.edu/you can do this.
You can do that. You can do this. You can go hang out with us at our takeover.
You could do that too. After you sign up for Lewis, they can come join us, right?
Yeah,
Make
exactly.
sure you do that in the morning and then come join us at the hangout.
The CHGO Sports Crosstown Series takeover would be the first one would be July 26th, the 7:10 game at the Cell. Cubs, Sox. Sox are getting beat by the Cardinals tonight. I'm actually rooting for them tonight.
Come on, Sean Anderson.
I would much rather see the Sox win than the Cardinals, if you ask me. Other people might think differently, but anyway, July 26th, I believe it's the second game of the Crosstown Series this year. We'll be in section 529, but there's going to be a pregame meetup at the Carrig Pub in Oak Forest, 6119 147th Street. So that'll be the first game. August 16th at 7:05 will be at beautiful historic Wrigley Field for Cubs Sox, and we'll be sitting in section 425. The pregame meetup for the bar has not been announced yet, but we'll let you know. But anyway, if you get a ticket to come hang out with us, you get your ticket to the game. You get a free T-shirt. It's one of the new baseball tees, as you see on the screen. If you're a Cubs or a Sox fan, if you're a Sox fan that's watching because you're tired of the Sox, I mean, welcome. Whatever. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and you get to hang out with us and all the rest of the CHGO crew. Have some Goose Island. And maybe some Sunnyside with that dispensary right down Clark Street in Wrigleyville. So we'll have that. And then also, we just announced this, today or yesterday? I keep getting my days mixed up. But the CHGO Kickoff Classic, it's a golf outing, Friday, August 25th. It starts at 9 a.m. And listen, I'm not the biggest golf guy. I asked the people we work with if I could just drive the cart and drink beer the entire time. That's legit all I want to do with this thing. So if you want to come and do that, we can be cart buddies, and we can, drive the cart around and drink beer together. I'll drink beer with anyone. I think you guys would know that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you can register at allchgo.com.
Yeah, go find that there.
And if you're a diehard, there is a promo code for a discount. So. Hell yeah. That's on top of the 20% off you already get, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But, again, it's all at allchgo.com if you want to learn more. It's at the Cog Hill Course 2 in – where is this at?
Cog Hill Course – hold on. Lamont.
In Lamont. Thank you.
Illinois.
I was trying to find the location, but it's in Lamont. So that's like a south suburb. Anyway. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of events going on this summer. On top of, the Bears season's right around the corner. We're going to be doing a tailgate for Bears Packers, for week 1 of the NFL season. So
our CHGO Kickoff Classic. If you're a diehard, email events@allcitynetwork.com to receive your discount code for the tournament.
Thank you, Ryan.
The entry fee includes 18 holes with a cart, exclusive pins and aces, tee gift for every player, access to limited edition pins and aces, and CHGO Polo hole contest, great giveaways and prizes for contest holes, winning teams, and last place, lunch, drinks, and ceremony after the round. Individual hole and tournament sponsors available. Okay. I don't know if I was supposed to read that part, but yeah. So the individual hole and tournament sponsorships available. Contact John Riskin, john@allcitynetwork.com for more information.
Again, all at allchgo.com. B252, who's telling us to move on. We are now moving on, man. You can chill. The Cubs offense.
You got to get paid, baby.
Yeah, I know. I'm just doing what the bosses are telling me to do.
I will say, Cubs' first ever win in New York. Can we get to 100 likes?
We deserve 100 likes.
If you're watching, hit that thumbs up.
100 for number 1.
If not for Cody and Ryan, do it for me, will you?
If not for us three. Do it for Sarah behind the.
Do it for
Luke,
Stuck.
so he'll come back.
Do it for Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's he gonna go off vacation?
We have to talk. The chat is blowing up about Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Cody
That
Bellinger.
and Miles Mastroboni because he came
I
out
am
of the
not
game
talking
Iowa
about
tonight.
Miles Mastroboni, and if they're bringing him back, I don't.
Everyone thinks he's my
I don't know
favorite
how
player.
long a guy has to put up a 30 WRC plus before you stop playing him, but I digress about that. The vibes are too good. We're not talking
Vibes are
about
too
Miles
good.
Mastroboni.
Too
Sorry,
good.
everybody. Cody Bellinger, his last 7 games, he's got an OPS that's over 1,400. His last 15 games, 1081 OPS. He has come back from that IL stint. It started a little slow, but he is red hot. I mean, that was a towering home run in New York, and it's an interesting conversation that the chat, if you're watching live on YouTube, has brought up about what they do with Cody Bellinger. If you're talking about the Cubs even doing a sort of soft sell, even if they did a little bit of both, Cody Bellinger would be one of the kind of few assets you might look to move. That being said, right, when you have the situation, we'll call it, at first base that the Cubs have, where Cody can play, and I think we all hope that PCA is up and patrolling center field sooner rather than later, but if they want some backup there, assurance there, someone who can DH as well, you know, if this is the version of Cody Bellinger that you're getting, he wouldn't be the worst guy to keep around. So it is an interesting situation that the Cubs front office might find themselves in. I think if they're interested in moving guys for super young prospects or prospects that can help you in the near term, he might be one of the only people you can do that with, I think is going to be the issue with extending him.
Yeah, I mean, I said this on yesterday's show. Like, Bellinger is one that coming into the year, I always thought it made a lot of sense to keep if he was going to, you know, bounce back in any way, shape, or form comparatively to the last 2 years or few years, I guess you could say. And yeah, like he struggled when he came back from the knee injury a little bit, but he's got a 13-game hitting streak now, and he's had a homer in 2 straight games. He had the great April. And I think the one consistent thing that you've seen from him for sure is the defense. And it doesn't even matter where you play him because he's played great defense in center field and he played great defense at first base. So there's clear value with Cody Bellinger here. And if the Cubs had a surefire first baseman, sure, maybe I'd be more entertained into trading him, but they don't though. And so, like, to me, it's like, why open up another hole that you already have? And also, and I'm not putting this energy out, I'm not trying to put this energy out there or say that I don't believe in him, but we don't know how Pete Crow Armstrong is going to pan out.
Are you using his government name?
PCA. Wow. We don't know how he's going to pan out, man. Okay.
That's what I meant by
and we would all
insurance.
trade him for Ohtani if the opportunity was given, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those things where you can't overvalue a prospect. I know he's top 10 in baseball now, and he's got a very, very bright future, and I believe in that too. But I'm just you just don't know.
Insurance is always good. Yeah. I think the discussion on Bellinger is going to be an interesting one. I think it's twofold, and at the moment we don't know these answers, right? We don't know what a team would offer for him, and we don't know what he might ask for in terms of signing an extension now. Because obviously if he continues, he's had real valleys, right? He was terrible for about a month, right, in terms of full games. But if he continued to play like this and get red hot again, you know, he'd be looking at a pretty interesting contract, right? If you can convince teams that he's a former MVP who has regained his form, that might be a nice little contract he would be if you got some teams in a bidding war in this free agent offseason, in a free agent crop that we've discussed a lot when it related to extending Ian Happ isn't very good, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about Bellinger, though, is he has been inconsistent this season, and I don't love the knee stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where it would come, and it's probably similar to the Marcus Stroman conversation. Like, I'm sure Jed and Carter might be interested, but at what cost and how many years is going to be the thing. And I know it's not like great to sit here and say, well, I don't know what he's asking for, but I don't know what he's asking for, right? So that's where, the situation with Cody would be a little interesting. I do agree, though. Like, you've needed left-handed power for a while. Somebody who can mix in at center, first, and DH. He does fit some of the needs that this team has currently and sort of seems to have going forward, especially as you have not gotten a resounding yes on the Matt Mervis experiment. PCA has not come up and even tested the waters here yet, even though we know he's a great defender, he's a great base runner, all that stuff. There's obviously, some steps to take before you're turning it all over to him, though. But, again, like, this is something Cody's got to keep this up until the trade deadline for either of these discussions, right?
Yeah.
If the Cubs want to keep him long-term, or if they're going to look to try to get a nice little package for him, he can't go on one of those, real struggles again, because those numbers were bad during that stretch.
They were.
Yeah, and I like that you kind of brought up the Stroman thing. And the one way I look at it, like, people will scream from the rooftops, extend Billy. They're kind of already doing that in the chat right now.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
But, like, when you look at it, like, Bellinger ain't giving you a hometown discount right now.
Right.
He's not. He's absolutely not. And, how people feel about trading him at the trade deadline, whatever. He's not giving you any sort of discount to extend him right now. And it's also, like, he also needs to want to be extended, right? Like, he may be dead set on hitting free agency right now no matter what. And so no matter what the Cubs do, no matter what Jed does, like, a extension has to also be agreed to by Cody Bellinger.
Right.
He's also not going to give you, again, like I said, a hometown discount right now. What's the difference between not being able to or trying to extend him right now at this price or re-signing him in the offseason at the same price, Like, that's just one of the considerations, I think, when people are yelling about extending Bellinger or extending a Stroman in the same way. When people are yelling about extending them, I think those are, like, two specific parts of that equation that people don't really think about. It's not like Jed can just like flip a switch and then all of a sudden he's extended. Right? Like, there has to be mutual agreement on it, and it also has to be like, am I okay waiting 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, until free agency starts and I can get him then.
Right.
Like, I just think that's parts you have to consider in that.
I think that people kind of get on it because, again, as we talked about, you don't have clear answers at some of these positions. And I think for a team that has obviously not performed to this point to the level that they want, trading someone who has been one of their best offensive producers only opens up more holes, right? So I think it's easier to just say, we'll just keep him because then that's one less problem. Yeah. But I do see it both ways. I will say his K rate remains in that area where you want to see it, kind of back when he was most successful with the Dodgers. Would have to take a look at, like, all of those underlying numbers, but that one in particular has been one to monitor because when he was really struggling with LA, his K rate was closer to 26, 28%, and it's been consistently kind of around 17, 18%. When he won the MVP in 2019, it was 16%. He's not walking at as high of a clip as he was during his MVP year. That was around 15%, only 7% this year. But
still close to
the
league
K
average.
rate for him, because of his power and the authority with which he can hit the ball, you want him making contact, and he's doing more of that. So,
what I was going to say after Ryan brought up the Stroman thing, the difference between Stroman and Bellinger is, Stroman, as we know, very open on social media about things, said that he went to the Cubs trying to get an extension done, all this and that. But the Cubs, who are 5 under 500, and we don't know where they're headed in terms of, like, their record by the trade deadline, it's kind of like you can't blame the Cubs for not getting that extension done or even considering it right now when they could, if they wanted to, get a package for him. Do I want Stroman to be here beyond this season? Yes, of course I do. I'm just saying, like, from the Cubs side, it's smart for them to wait it out, all right? Now, Bellinger's side, he isn't going to ask for an extension now because he's trying to build his value back up. His month and week and a half, 2 weeks here isn't going to get him paid the money that he wants. So they're not going to extend Bellinger right now. They're not going to extend him next month. He's going to want to talk about all that once the season's over. So that's the difference, and I think most people kind of understand that. Yeah, I would love for the Cubs and him to just come to an extension right now, but I mean, I also want Shohei Ohtani on this roster. So, I mean, we don't all get what we want. So, is what it is, and I think we've gotten a little bit of the middling ground for Cody Bellinger this year. Like I remember Jared in season predictions thought that he was going to lead the team in homers, and I was just hoping. Honestly, I don't even remember what I was hoping for, but I do remember Jared thinking that he was going to be the big home run guy for this team, and in April it looked like he was on path to be in that MVP race. He had a 1.5 F4 after April, just hitting hard ball after hard ball, playing incredible center field defense. He looked like the best player on the team, in my opinion, in April. And the Cubs record showed that, in my opinion. But, obviously May was a struggle. Then he got hurt, was out longer than we all expected. And you saw the Cubs offense really struggle without him. And now the Cubs offense, they scored 3 runs today, whatever, they won. But even yesterday, when they lost, he was a big part of the offense. He had 4 hits yesterday.
Yeah.
He was the offense yesterday. If this team is going to get back to 500 and even ascend from there, they need Cody Bellinger to be this guy. And we said that at the beginning of the year, that they were going to need something close to all-star level play from Cody Bellinger for them to be in the race to be good. And so when you sit here and ask yourself why this team wasn't good in May, why this team is so inconsistent all the time, while having 3 all-stars and can't explain a lot of things while having a positive run differential, I think the big thing is Cody Bellinger. So if they can get a really good July out of Cody Bellinger, maybe they do get to 500, and maybe they do get ascend from there, because they absolutely need it.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing, I don't know if either of you mentioned it, Scott Boras is his client too, is his agent. So that about in-season extensions is maybe the last agent that would want to deal with just in that situation, because I don't think he's keen. I think he really wants Bellinger to hit the market, especially if he continues to play like he's playing right now, which I will point out in this 13-game hitting streak, which is his career high now. He has a 1167 OPS in the last 13 games. That's including 2 home runs in back-to-back games for the first time since April 29th and 30th. So it has been a very spectacular run for him. I will also point out that he has about a 488 BABIP, which signals a lot of batted ball luck. That's an unsustainable pace. Absolutely an unsustainable. 488 is unheard of. So
current level would be the highest over on the season, would be the highest in his career.
Oh yeah. So that is probably due for some regression. How much he regresses obviously will impact how you look at him right now. But it's also why we're saying, everyone wanting to extend Belly after these last couple of weeks. I mean, it was kind of the same thing after April. People were saying the same thing, extend Bellinger now. Right. And then he wasn't good the next couple of weeks. Then he got hurt and missed a month, and then so we've seen how the last 2 months went for him. Now he's back into playing very, very well. But it's just pumping the brakes on it. Let him get through the rest of the season if he remains with the Cubs, and just see where he goes from there, because there are signs that point that what he's doing right now at this level is not sustainable. He can still be a really good player, don't get me wrong. Just what he's been doing these last 2 weeks, as far as an 1100 OPS, a 488 BABIP, that is just not sustainable. Pump the brakes, see if he regresses and how much that is, and go from there. I think for Bellinger specifically, just because we've known the struggles the last 3-ish years, the injuries that have affected him, I think it's only smart to give him that whole year until you really start saying this is Bellinger's back.
Yeah.
Before you really confirm that, it feels to me like you got to give him the year, as long as he remains in a Cubs uniform.
To go I guess go on top of what you said about his BABIP. I mean, last 2 days you finally got the power surge, right? He'd been hitting 13 straight games with a hit, But finally, 2 homers the last 2 days. If he loses a few hits, but the power surge continues, I'll live with that.
Sure.
That they need the home runs from Cody Bellinger.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
he's
that was a
one of
big
those-
thing that was missing. Was he was hitting the ball, just wasn't leaving the park.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, if that just kind of offsets a little bit, he is hitting for more slug. Even if the BABIP luck goes down, the batting average itself goes down. If he's turning more of those into doubles or triples or home runs, then yeah, you totally live with that because those extra base hits are what's going to lead to more runs versus the singles he was getting.
When he's healthy and he's not striking out close to 30% of the time, which he's been this year, he's one of those guys like you kind of expect PCA to be, whose floor is just so high because he's excellent in center field. He's elite in center field. He stole another base tonight. He's got 11 stolen bases. Probably will end up with maybe like 20-ish on the year, maybe a little more than that. So you combine all of that, like he's a valuable player, even if he's not hitting at that upper level, and even if there is some regression, with some of his BABIP luck. He's a good, solid player. So I see why people want to keep him around. But this is true of Stroman. This is true of Bellinger. This is true of basically everybody on this team. They are going to field calls, right? Even if they're considering trying to stay in this division race, they are going to answer the phone and see what someone might be willing to give to them. Because at the end of the day, right now, they are 7-8 games back of first place. They have to pick up the phone. What they decide to do and how that affects the 2023 team and all this other stuff, there's a few weeks that are going to provide more color on that. But as far as making those decisions now, and it even relates to the Ken Rosenthal piece about Marcus Stroman and them not wanting to do that now. I've been on the train of keeping Marcus Stroman because I don't love the pitching depth, but I get it, right? They should not do any of that right now. Like, they should answer the phone. And if one of these teams that's in this race, right, the Diamondbacks, the Baltimore Orioles, etc., if they want to get crazy, right, you let them get crazy and you do what you know what I mean?
They want to send Jackson Holiday for Marcus Stroman. I think you might be able to talk me into it, honestly.
And in the YouTube chat, Christian says, I don't know if I trust Jed 100%. I'm right there with you, man.
I'm
I don't
with
know
you
if
too.
I do either, but he's running the ship, so we we kind of have
you
to,
can sit
right?
here and criticize it or celebrate them whenever things happen.
Like,
but,
we have to trust what they're going to do because they're in control. So that's
Speaking
just
of the
what
race,
it is.
the Brewers are up 6-2 on the Reds right now. So
that's good for the Cubs.
This is the only time we can be happy about the Brewers winning a game. If the Brewers win tonight, then both teams would move a game closer to the Reds. And I'm sorry, the Reds are due from some regression. And I think that by the deadline, the Cubs could at least be halfway between the Reds and where they're at right now.
I think you just want somebody taking 2 of 3 in that series, right?
Yeah.
Like, as long as somebody doesn't sweep and go into that break real hot. Like, as long as everybody's losing at some point this weekend, I think you're fine with that.
Right. So, the other offense tonight, we can real quick. I mean, Nico, opposite field knock with 2 outs. He continues to hit with runners in scoring position. The guy, honestly, I understand why he's not an all-star. They have 2. They took 2 great guys at second base. Arias hitting near 400, and I can't remember the other guy, but they got a lot of good second basemen in baseball this year. So whatever. But then Wisdom finally getting a hit. It felt like, I don't know how to feel about Wisdom anymore. I was someone in the offseason that just it wasn't like I was defending the guy, but it was more of like, if he can just be a solid role player, that's all you can ask for someone like him in the journey he's been at the major league level. And at April, he was more than an average player. Yeah. But now it's like he regressed so much to where he is costing the team wins. Like yesterday in Milwaukee, him and Jared Young combining for 5 strikeouts, I believe it was, going 0 for 7 or 0 for 8 at the bottom of the lineup. Like it's you can't have that in your lineup. And today to see him get an RBI double to basically give them an extra insurance run, hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. I'm not banking on it. I'm not relying on it. I'm not being optimistic really about it. I'm just saying that it was good to see him do that because he needed something to just feel good about.
Yeah, there was a piece on Bleacher Nation recently where they were talking about his stretch, after mid-May. He had been on that kind of scorching start to the season.
He was one of the best hitters
around
in baseball,
mid-May to tonight. He had a -5 WRC plus.
Yikes.
Negative. 5 is 95% below league average. -5 is the other direction. So, and that with a near 50% K rate. So, yes, it was nice to see tonight. He has got to turn that around. And, again, the Cubs trying to figure out who's playing third, who's playing first. Now, of course, Madrigal goes on the IL right as he started to get hot. So that you're going to need these guys to kind of show something here, because otherwise, I think the leash has got to be pretty short for some of these guys. You're trying to find answers. You don't have time to kind of let some of these guys figure out, especially when the numbers start to get that bad with some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I said when he got that hit today, I said his first hit since June 9th, his first extra base hit since May 28th. So, yeah, it has been like you have seen, I guess, the depths of where Patrick Wisdom's struggles are at. I mean, he was hurt for a while there too, at least on the IL, and maybe that, especially towards the end when it got really bad, that wrist thing that they said had kind of been a little bit of a thing for maybe the week or so before he went on the IL. Maybe that had part to do with it, but now if he's healthy, and I assume that had Madrigal not gotten hurt, they may not have brought Wisdom up as quickly. Like maybe he was ready, but maybe it was more about get his timing down in AAA. Just kind of that balance of like he's good to go, but maybe a few more games in AAA. Now you said Madrigal gets hurt and Wisdom is kind of forced to come up, and now he has to get back into everyday playing time. Now if he's healthy, he's gonna have to pick it up, because what is he at now? Like a 180. He was at 189 coming into today. I don't know exactly what the batting average is, but it's not great. And I think like you said, like we weren't defending him in the offseason, but I think the main argument was like a guy that can get you close to 25 home runs, even if he's striking out at 35% for what they're paying him.
And he had been in his entire time with the Cubs. He had been an above league average hitter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
above
you
league
can hate the way that he did it, but the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So like you do all that, and obviously you were hoping for solid defense from him this year. Has been a little up and down in that area. But if all that was to come together, just be a solid role player for what you're paying him, like that's
100%.
You take that, and obviously
that you gave a chance to, that the Cardinals discarded, and he turned in. He gave you a lot of value over the course of a few seasons.
Take that, Debbie. I saw your comment.
I want to, before we hit our second ad break here, I do want to go back to, you mentioned Nico Horner. Like, I don't know if there's anybody, I mean, maybe Luis Arias, just because he's literally hitting, 400 or around it. I don't know if there's anybody I would want more in a crucial situation with men on base than Nico Horner. The at-bats that he has with guys on base, his ability to bring guys in, like coming into tonight with runners in scoring position, hitting .330 on the season. And the only thing I get back to thinking of, he was a year late for this, but can we go back in time and insert him into like the 2018 Chicago Cubs? That team couldn't buy a hit with runners in scoring position. All those games, 0 or 1 run scored, leaving so many runners on. Yep. You know who they really could have used is Nico freaking Horner. And the way that he just delivers those professional at-bats, no matter the context, it's really impressive, and he just continues to be such a valuable player. He's excellent on the base paths and in the field, but the way that he hits is the type of player that the Cubs have been looking for a very long time. Now, of course, after moving on from the old core, now we're looking for guys that can hit for power. We find ourselves, time is a flat circle, right? But we're looking for the sort of other end of that spectrum. But it remains like his development and his growth into the player that he is. And even on the season right now, he's overall, if you're looking at WRC+, he's actually been below league average. He's only at 95 coming out of this game. But when you watch his at-bats and you look at what he he does and the way he puts the bat to the ball and the way he comes through in some of these clutch situations, he's going to hover right around that just because he's not a slug guy, right? So it's all going to rely on him staying consistent with average. But the full scope of him as a player on the bases, the field, and the way that he has those at-bats, he's just turned out to be such a really excellent player for the Chicago Cubs.
I'm just assuming that MLB had their Shady Rays on whenever they were watching the Cubs this year, and they just missed everything that Nico Horner was doing. And that's why he's not going to Seattle for the All-Star game. Luke Stuckemeyer would be proud of that one. Anyway, take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they would send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase together. With their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now for years to come. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Yeah, Shady Rays. You're going to need those Shady Rays if you use ComEd, you know what I'm saying?
Those bright lights, baby.
Bright lights. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
That's right, Ryan. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
So, Corey, tell me, how does it work?
That's a great question, Ryan. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz. Ryan?
Corey, did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
I did. Schedule it today.
Woo!
Bang.
All right.
Look at that.
Schedule it today.
Stuck, you'll be proud.
That's
I
for
think we
Stucky.
had another super
we have another
chat
super
we did,
chat?
yeah.
that came in.
Also, we have 89 likes, and we have like
90,
maybe
wasn't it?
90 likes.
10 more. Come
and
on.
we got
Hit that thumbs
a few
up,
minutes left in the
folks.
show, so
Tell
let's
your
hit
friends.
100.
Luke is not coming back if we don't hit 100
Yeah.
likes.
He's not coming
live.
back for less than 100. Come on.
He doesn't work for less than 100. Come on.
This $5 super chat from Hawkeye. Yo, we beat the Yanks, in all caps, as a relocated Midwesterner now living in the Bronx. Great to see us come out here and spank them. Have a blessed night, guys.
I believe further down in the chat, Hawkeye also said he's going to the game tomorrow. So hopefully the good vibes keep rolling. And
they won
he
tonight,
bring home
and
a
you're
W.
there. That means you have to go back and bring home the win tomorrow. I'm a firm believer that in that energy. So let's go, man.
If we can, in the last few minutes here, I would love to just give a nod to our closer, Adbert ALLCITY.
Sure.
Another really good effort tonight. And on the season, 2.35 ERA, also a 2.35 FIP. So a rare situation where his earned results are exactly what the FIP sort of would suggest it would be. But just an incredible job that he's done. And the key to it is he's dominating lefties. which was something he could not do.
Yeah.
And they spent a lot of time. And this is one of those situations, I think, where, you can always come up with a kind of good and bad example for a lot of things, right? When we're talking about how they deal with hitters, right? And the changes they make to certain guys or the changes they make to other guys, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Same with the pitchers, right? Everybody's like, what did they do to Taillon? Why did they mess with him? They screwed him up, et cetera, et cetera. But then you can look at a guy like ALLCITY, who they brought up through their system. And when he came up, he struggled mightily in getting lefties out and specifically keeping lefties in the ballpark. And this year, he's been better against lefties than he has against righties, right? So it's a credit to the infrastructure. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But ALLCITY is an example where they put in a lot of work. They really dialed in on this guy has the stuff. He's got the attitude. He's got it to be a successful pitcher in this league. But we have to solve this one glaring problem. And at least so far in this year, like, they have really solved that problem. He's been phenomenal.
He's really responded from the blown save the other day, too. Like the next.
Well, there was a blown save, and Sunday in Cleveland, he gave up obviously the automatic runner and extras, but then also the game-winning run.
Oh, yeah.
On Sunday. So it was like two games where he gave up pretty important runs.
He came into the game that Steele had started and just went 1-2-3 against the Brewers in a series that was just wild. It felt like the offense for both teams, or the offense for the Brewers especially, you felt like it was hard to keep down, shut them down.
Pretty
and then
quickly,
tonight, it was 3-0, so he had a little bit of a cushion, but still, like, how games can go whenever a dominating pitcher comes out and it's just a new pitcher and it just sparks an offense somehow. Because Cordero for the Yankees got a leadoff hit against him. He induces the ground ball double play, then strikes out the next guy. Not that I was worried or anything. I'm just saying, like, he got got a save and when they needed it.
Well, I'm happy when he keeps dominating lefties, because me and Brendan have a piece we wrote like a month ago now on ALLCITY, and I get to keep retweeting it because it keeps happening. So there's that. No, very, very impressive to see what Adbert's done, especially when you think about the fact that, like, he came up as a starting pitching prospect. He was like their best pitching prospect as a starter going through the minor leagues for a little bit there. And then, injuries pretty much took all of 2022 away from him, have taken more time in his big league career. He comes back last year in relief, comes this year. He's not, the opening day closer. He's not even like Michael Fulmer and Brad Boxberger were getting kind of the high leverage spots early in the year. That doesn't work out. Adbert becomes one of those guys that David Ross trusts immensely, and you see it, especially now that he has the ability to get lefties out consistently. Like, he's the ninth inning guy. If there's a save situation going into the late innings, they are building that bullpen, and the bullpen usage is to make sure Adbert Alzolay gets to the ninth inning with the lead. He's not perfect. We saw it this week, but he's turned into a, like, if you would tell me next year he's going to be an all-star closer, I wouldn't be in disbelief. I think he's blossomed into a really, really good back-end pitcher. I think there was a point where we thought maybe he's one of those multi-inning guys, but they found a good role for him that he thrives in. He likes the energy and the adrenaline that you get in those high-leverage ninth-inning save situation spots. I think this is the spot that, Adbert was kind of made for. And going to tease it next week. Got a piece coming out about Adbert and just kind of his whole development, and another guy that they call each other best friends. If you know who that is, if you know, you know, right? So I'll have something coming out next week on those two pitchers.
I also I do love that we get to. I know Alzolay talked the other day about how important it is for him to come in and finish games that Justin Steele started, just how much they've come up together and stuff like that. But just seeing his success along with Steele's success, like, this season has obviously been up and down. There's stuff that's gone well, there's stuff that's gone bad. But finally being in a situation where the Cubs' number one bullpen arm is one of theirs, right? And their number one starter is one of theirs, right? In a vacuum, that's just really cool. And it's a long way for this organization to have come. And again, another credit to David Ross, who I complain about as much as anybody else sometimes, but last year and the last few years, like there were a lot of times where, as you mentioned, like people would question, why is this guy going back for a second inning? Why is he forcing this guy into this spot? And you look at this year, and two of their best relievers have been Mark Leiter Jr. and Adbert Alzolay. And the reason that they were able to trust those guys is for that exact reason. Ross put them in situations and tested them last year when the games didn't mean as much. What can we get out of this guy? Can he pitch in high leverage? Can they pitch multiple innings? You got some answers on those things, and now you're seeing those results. Again, we'd like the overall team to be better, but those things in a vacuum are cool and good sort of milestones for the organization. I also tend to find, last thing on Alzolay, however he celebrates getting a win, he does a lot of fist pumps. He's screaming. That moment with him and Daniel Palencia in Milwaukee the other day, they were doing like this in unison, like almost as if they had practiced that. It was like a glitch in the Matrix, right? One of my favorite parts of the game, just seeing how jacked up he is. I mean, Adbert is jacked up when he gets these saves, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to watch for at the end of these games.
Really quick, before we get to who you got, I know we got to finish this. Major League Baseball, 6 pitchers so far this year have thrown at least 7 2/3 innings with allowing 1 hit or less. 4 of those are Cubs pitchers. We know Jameson Taillon is one. Can you guys name the other 3?
Smiley,
yeah.
Did Hendricks do that?
There's Hendricks.
Yeah, because he almost had the no-hitter.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's...
Well, so as as we heard from on vacation Luke Stuckmeyer in our chat, it is interesting to note that the Cubs are under 500 in doing that. So maybe the lesson is don't get close to throwing no-hitters. Don't do that, right?
Yeah. In closing about Adbert, I still think, or I want Palencia to be that guy by the end of the year, but I think when you have the duo of Palencia and Adbert at the back end of that bullpen to go with Leiter Jr. and Merriweather, that's pretty solid. So we'll see what happens.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
Along,
I think ultimately if this team was like a serious threat to win the World Series, you do always want your highest leverage reliever to get more whiffs than Adbert does, right? For as successful as he's been, you know, we saw it in 2016 when the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, as a lot of people do forget.
A guy like Chapman.
You needed a guy like Chapman to come in and just blow people away, right? I always think of that first game against the Dodgers, right? He gave up a run in that game, but he came into a mess. I think it was bases loaded, no outs, and he strikes out 2 of the guys. That's what you need. And I don't know if Adbert's going to be that guy. So in an ideal scenario, maybe you do have someone like Palencia as your highest leverage, you know, kind of fireman kind of guy.
You need strikeouts.
Just throwing the ball past people. Nothing gets in play. Guys just get sat down.
That's something Russ said the other day is like in that situation, Daniel Palencia gave us like just the best chance for strikeouts, which is what we needed.
Yeah.
Okay, who you got? We're way over our hour. We're giving you an extra
Friday
minutes.
night.
And Barb's not here to like
It's
complain about
Sunnyside Summer
needing to
Friday,
go to bed.
Cody. The vibes are
So
good.
it's not a
Like
school
we're
night,
riding
Barb.
the wave.
Yeah.
It's not a school night.
Barb would be in the
I could
chat
up as
telling
late
us
as I
that she
want.
needs to go to sleep,
She
and
told
we need
me
to
I
end.
can't. She told me I can't be awake.
If
this
they
late
had
on school
lost
night.
this game, the show would have been 45 minutes.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? So like
absolutely.
we're riding, the vibes are good. We're happy to be here with all of
Yeah,
you.
quick, who
we're
you
all
got?
just kind of mind blown that Jameson Taillon did what he did tonight.
Yeah, quickly, who you got? Right?
Okay, so Ryan,
We all win.
I was gonna say, for this,
we
one, I
all
guess
we all
won
win
that one.
the asterisk. Who you got? Where were you when the CHGO Cubs podcast manifested Jameson Taillon revenge game? I was here at CHGO Sports Studios. Quickly, I can't believe I'm saying this. Man of integrity. Ryan took Bellinger. I think he's got to be the guy.
I did not.
Oh, you took Seiya?
Jared took Nico. Yeah, no
Oh,
one took
I did.
Bellinger.
Wow, credit
I
to
must
you
have-
giving
I must
Ryan
have
a
not
win he didn't
wrote
get.
Credit to me
ones
for
out.
just trying to give me the win. I'll take it, but no, I think Jared won with
Okay,
Nico.
credit to Ryan for being fair. I wrote the wrong names down. Okay. Jared
had
took
Nico.
Nico, and he had the RBI single.
2 for 4 RBI single. Yeah.
The rest of them really didn't do much of anything. Seiya had a hit. He hit.
He had 2 really hard hit balls.
He had
also.
2 of the hardest hit balls of the night, but right at
just
short.
Putting that on the record.
It's not an exit velo situation.
All right. So we're giving it to Jared. He's now 4-7 in his Who You Got career. Congratulations. All right. Before we get out of here, if you want to go, like Hawkeye said, he's going to go back to the Bronx tomorrow to watch the Cubs and Yankees. If you're also near New York, you can go on Game Time and get your tickets there. to go watch the Cubs. Or if you want to go out the All-Star game, watch Justin Steele start the game for the National League Manifest. You can get your tickets on Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets to all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you will have. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find the tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. Get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Again, I say this every time. It is the worst when you have to do that. So that's why Game Time is the best. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Cubs Yankees. Just gonna say it real quick. Cubs Yankees tomorrow. If you're trying to go to that game, very cheap. Cheapest $14. So
There you go.
Go on Game Time and check it out if you're there.
Well said. Okay, that's post-game show. We ran a little late tonight, which is fine. I don't know if the screen is wrong, Ryan, but we still don't have 100 likes.
Yeah,
I need
somehow.
y'all to hit the like button on the way out of here. And whoever thumbs down twice, I got a serious problem with you. All right. Cubs win 3-0.
That's an interesting way to spend your Friday night.
Yeah, like,
thumbs downing people.
Thumbs
on
downing
YouTube.
YouTube videos
Your
on a Friday
prerogative,
night.
yeah.
I mean, what are you,
rude.
from St. Louis? I mean, come on.
Just
Maybe
rude.
you're from Milwaukee. I mean, I can only assume it's one
Or
of
at
those
least
two.
tell us why you're thumbing. Maybe we can do a better job
Yeah.
for you. Like let us
Maybe,
know.
maybe like say in the comments why you're thumbsing down. I would love to know. Anyway, Cubs win
'cause you're not wearing
3-0.
pants.
They're 1-0 in their last one. They go for the series win tomorrow, and hopefully they win tomorrow because they can't win on Sundays. So, manifest. I need Drew Smiley to get back on the right track. These last 3-4 starts haven't been great. So, Corey and Brendan on Sunday
After the game?
for the series recap. And
After the game.
if they do lose tomorrow, hopefully they win on Sunday. That way you guys can finally do a winning post-game series recap.
It's been a long time. It has been a while. They don't win on Sundays, so it
I know.
has been a while.
Yeah.
I know. We will be back on Monday.
We
Like,
did
me
hit
and-
100 likes. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Corey and Brendan on Sunday. Me and Ryan will be back on Monday. We'll be talking about
The
the
draft.
first round of the draft.
Yeah, I know the people in the chat are asking for an emergency pod for the draft. All our
Yeah.
draft coverage will be Monday.
Yeah.
Maybe a guest?
Maybe you guys. We're talking to a few people.
Working on
so
it.
We're gonna work on it. So anyway, thanks for dropping in. Check out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Thank you. We hit 100 likes.
There it is.
Shout out to
Thanks,
you guys. Again, Corey and Brennan on Sunday. We'll see you then. Fly W. And fuck St. Louis. Good night.